this is Roseanne Barr, and I'm running for President of these United States of America. You're welcome!
Turning to Decision 2012, there are still 4 Republicans vying to become president. Today, the frontrunner, Mitt Romney, was campaigning in Colorado. He's hoping to repeat his 2008 win there. Meanwhile, Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, and Ron Paul had campaign stops today as well. And the Green Party announcing today 2 candidates vying for the presidency. The nominee will be chosen at the Green Party convention held in July. The first candidate is Jill Stein. She's a physician, longtime teacher of internal medicine, and pioneering environmental health advocate. The other is actress and comedian Roseanne Barr.
Celeb says it's no joke. She wants to win the White House. Actress and comedian Roseanne Barr is running for the Green Party's presidential nomination. Roseanne Barr released a statement saying Democrats and Republicans were not working in the best interests of the American people. The Green Party's presidential nominee is going to be selected at a convention in Baltimore in July.
Hi, this is Roseanne Barr, and I hope you will vote for me Tuesday, June 5th in the California primaries. I promise to work tirelessly to make the Green Party bigger, stronger, more diverse, and more widely heard. Barr 2012. Vote for me. I'll fix this shit.
Roseanne for president? Move over, Mitt Romney. Move over, Newt Gingrich. There's a new candidate in town. Sitcom queen Roseanne Barr is throwing her hat into the political ring and is running for president. That's right, you heard me. Running for president. Roseanne announced her bid Thursday via Twitter. And when Showbiz Tonight asked her why she was running, this is what she tweeted us late today. I'm running to try to get people to look at, talk about the real problems of working people in our country. So, just how serious is Roseanne about her run for the White House? Here now is conservative commentator Ann Coulter. First of all, Ann, I'm very pleased that you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Okay, so Roseanne is running for president under the Green Party. So, what do you think? Is she serious about this run, or is this all just a big joke?
Well, compared to some of the candidates who have run for president, I think I take it completely seriously. I'm holding out. I'm waiting to see who Gary Busey endorses, because you may recall he endorsed Newt and then he withdrew that endorsement. So his endorsement is open for the taking right now.
Yeah, because he liked Donald Trump at one point, too. But do you actually think that Roseanne could get some votes here?
Ralph Nader did. Dennis Kucinich did. She's more serious than Dennis Kucinich.
Comedian, macadamia nut farmer, and Sarah's TV mom, Roseanne Barr is running for president of the United States. No, seriously. She's filed the paperwork to be a legitimate candidate for the Green Party. Barr says the Democratic and Republican parties are, quote, bought and paid for by corporate America. What do you think about her running, Sarah?
Well, look, I wanted to wait until today when I was back on the talk to say this, but I would like to announce my bid for vice presidency.
I'll vote for you.
No, look, I think Roseanne's always been a pioneer. She's always thought outside the box and done things differently than anybody else, and I wish her all the success in her new career.
Okay.
This is Roseanne Barr, and I'm running for President of these United States of America. You're welcome!
This is not some nutty idea. You're not joking. You really are running, seeking the Green Party nomination, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, why are you doing this?
But I'm glad you used the words nutty because I'm also a nut farmer in Hawaii, so
you are
it's
still
nutty
doing that.
I'm nuts about my nuts. Nuts are a great way for people to get protein, and you know, if people were to get their protein from nuts rather than beef, well, there wouldn't be any global warming or any of that problem because there'd be enough grain and stuff also to feed every hungry person.
Okay.
So, you know, the Green Party is kind of out there, but it's my kind of out there.
Okay, so, and you are nuts about representing the Green Party. Why are you trying to encourage people in California for that presidential primary to vote for you instead of voting for Obama or Romney?
Well, because here's why. Because it's a free vote. Because each of those candidates, you know, are already, you know, shoo-ins to get their party's nomination, and so it's not taking any votes away from Obama or Romney. But I have this message that Monday in California, that's you know, tomorrow, is the last day that people can register as Greens. And why I encourage Democrats to register as Greens is because, you know, you can still vote for Obama, but you can send a message to the Democratic Party, as can Republicans who want to register as Greens. And I think there's a lot of stuff in common that both can agree on.
So what's that message?
It sends a message
what
to
would
Washington.
be that message?
The message is to all of Washington, D.C., that the American people are tired of the corrupt two-party system that, you know, is totally irrelevant to, you know, the American people, because both of those parties have indeed marginalized 90-some% of the American people from each of their parties. So that's what the Greens are about. It's also about, you know, bringing progressive issues, in specifically the 10 key values of the Green Party, which I think both people on the right and the left of the aisle can agree on. And it's a party of solutions, a party of small yet efficient government, and you know, of a good, you know, being good to Mother Earth and thinking of alternative ways to make things happen besides the ones that got us in this big mess.
And some of the other issues that you're hoping to promote as part of your platform, ending the involvement in foreign wars, Afghanistan. Yeah, all wars.
I'm for what I try to live my life according to what I think is right, and what I think is right is a whole new. I want us to stop and start over with a new kind of system from bottom to top that eliminates, you know, a kind of system that is the end to slavery, war, and usury, all the kind of capital sins that brought us here. And if we would do just a fraction of those, there wouldn't be any more problems. They'd all be solved. So I'm for like solving solutions, and one of my suggestions is a debt jubilee, and that is to ask the bankers of the Fed, who control everything in this country, and are in cahoots with those who control everything in the world, to look at the idea of debt forgiveness, and
especially as it pertains to student loan debt.
Yeah, that's in the United States, to forgive student loans as a stimulus to the housing market. I'm just applying common sense to it because, well, a lot of these kids have moved in with their parents because they have these huge debts they can't pay off their student loans. And believe me, the parents are not thrilled about it either. And they'd like to see their kids move out. And the fact is the kids could use that same money to put a down payment on a house, which would bring housing starts, which is, you know, what stimulates our economy and brings back our middle class. So for bankers, the wealthiest and most powerful among us, to like join in with us instead of being our adversaries, and you know, put their patriotism above their profits, and join with the American people to do their part in you know, forgiving a portion of this debt, and asking themselves, is there a way that you could increase debt forgiveness to a mere 1% instead of a 0%.
Okay.
And I just want to appeal to, what is good and decent in all Americans, that we definitely have to solve our problems and help our people.
You say you want to legalize marijuana, close America's foreign military bases, do away with the Federal Reserve, among other things. But if you don't win, the race to the White House, do you worry
I like that
at all?
those are small points.
Those are small points?
No, they're huge, actually, so,
Yeah,
those are all huge
that's part of your
points.
platform. Okay, so if you were
Yes,
not
it
to
is.
win, however, you were to get the nomination for your party, do you worry at all that this might promote kind of a repeat of what we saw in 2000, that there would be a splintered vote, that potentially the election could be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court again, or at least with their participation again?
I'm glad you asked me that question, Frederica.
Okay, I'm glad you're glad.
I think what we need to do is we need to have paper ballots, and I think that that's the real lesson, not whether Ralph Nader ran or that there's a third party that actually stands for progressive issues, which it does, and there's 10 key values everyone should take a look at. But it's really about paper ballots and how the votes are secured and how the votes are counted, and I think that was the problem, not Ralph Nader.
Okay, and if it comes to the point where there is a victory speech, are we going to see, Roseanne Barr? I know this is a very, this is a serious run, but you are a comedian too, and we've heard your rendition of the national anthem.
I'm the only serious comedian in this race, Frederica.
Would we hear it again? Seriously?
Would you hear what?
The national anthem.
Oh my God!
Your rendition.
You're cutting that out. You know what? I'm going to speak to that if you'll let me do that. Now, I updated that on my Roseanne's Nuts cable show, and people have come up to me since then to say they loved my second rendition. You know what? I think the lesson here is people make mistakes, and then they, after they've apologized 9,000 times, they should be forgiven, and it should be forgotten. And you can, again, stop and start over again and do things better, which I indeed did in my second rendition. I'm very proud of it. My grandson was with me.
Oh.
I sounded real good, and I encourage everybody to go over there on YouTube and see me sing in a real respectful version.
Oh, okay, because we do have a rendition. Is this going to be the rendition number 1 or rendition number 2, people?
Number 2 is the better
Okay,
tape.
number 2. Let's hear it.
I like to be remembered.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
I like it. That's beautiful. And that's a hard song to sing.
Well, I like the idea that you can get better over the years if you try and you practice. You can get better.
Agreed. Practice makes perfect. Well, of course, all the best in your pursuit of the Green Party nomination.
Thank you so much.
And the run for the White House.
June
Roseanne
5th,
Barr.
vote for me.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Roseanne Barr.
We had an audience here, let's say about somewhere between 150 and 200 people came out to see this. There were 6 candidates up there. If your message is so important and your passion is so palpable, does it not behoove you to run? Why are you choosing the Green Party, as a matter of fact, what I want to ask? Why the Green Party?
There's a big one. Because it has, oh man, this is a big one. Well, originally the party that I founded myself that I was running was the Green Tea Party because, as I spoke today about a synthesis between capital and social, which I think is the future and what needs to happen. I call it peopleism. I feel that represents fully all the American people, the true 99% who know that this is just a scam from top to bottom. But I chose the Green Party because of ballot access, because I like the 10 key values of the Green Party. They're very good, they're very basic. I think everyone would agree if they'd read them, everyone agrees with them. And only the worst of the elite would not agree with justice and end to slavery and those kind of things. But it is about ballot access, and the Green Party has been able to get more ballot access than any other party, and that's great. And you know, by my being endorsed by the Black Caucus of the Green Party, we are really working hard for ballot access in Georgia, a key state, Georgia. And you know, it's just kind of, I could see that this is the beginning of maybe a 20, 30-year thing. But I wanted to get a toehold. I want people to have a choice. I want people to have a choice with what's done with their money and where that money goes. And you know, I want a public option. And neither of those other parties, they've totally taken that. They've taken the things that most Americans want totally off the table, and it's just, you know, pork for them. Starting with the Electoral College, the capital of pork.
Knowing what little I do of residual checks, they probably put you in the 99%. Having been both in the 1%.
Everybody, I was never in the 1%, and I'm going to say this, that's a divisive tactic that Democrats use. And I'll tell you this, like I said out there, the 1% it means 3 million Americans, and power is concentrated in far fewer hands, and that's just a canard. Absolute power is concentrated in less than 1,250 hands, the richest billionaires in this country. That's the 1%, the people who can afford to buy congressmen like John Boehner, who will do their bidding, and to buy all these lobbyists who pretend to be representing the American people. That's the real 1%, and that comes again down to the Electoral College, the richest of the rich, of which I don't have the money to buy a congressman. So, you know, let's not blame comedians. Let's go all the way up to the top of the elite bankers of the Federal Reserve, and that is where everything begins and ends. Every problem in our country, and in fact in the world, begins and ends there.
And what of the people who would say to you, okay, I hear what you're saying, Roseanne, about the Electoral College, but if there were no Electoral College, nobody would go campaign in Wyoming, nobody would campaign in Kansas or Vermont.
How do you know?
Because the population centers. And,
no,
and
I don't agree there. I think that the more that we activate democracy, and the more that the Green Party itself and these third parties get around and run at local levels all the way up, and I want to say that Green candidates are running at local levels from school board all the way up across the board. We're going to get people to go to Wyoming, as you know, horrible as that sounds to East Coast people. Wyoming is a wonderful and gorgeous place.
Of course, I wasn't meaning to disparage Wyoming. I was just saying there are not very many voters there. So without the Electoral College,
I'll tell you what, that's not absolutely correct, because being from Salt Lake City, Utah, I know that the fact is that a lot of elections more and more are being won and lost in the western states, and when we, you know, and I talk about also capitalism being kind of a wild stallion, and you know, that's why they always have to have Bush and Reagan and all those guys dress up like fake cowboys, because the West really does, it helps to be a tastemaker, if you will, for all elections. And more and more and more, because that's where the growers are. That's where the wealth is in the western states. So that's where Cheney is, and that's where all these things, these no-bid contracts are. So it's just all people better go to Wyoming. And you know, they're saying in this next election that either New Mexico or Wyoming is where it will possibly be stolen again, like it was stolen in Florida. So there's you know, it's way more important than anybody is talking about.
During the debate tonight, or today, you said, you talked about cutting aid to Israel.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said that if we took money...
No, I said for far less than the cost of the nuclear warheads, Israel could have created a job for all those Palestinians, could have, as I say, put the PAL back into Palestinian, and could have like a democracy that actually works for people, with efficient government that is based on solutions. And that, you know, Israel now exists as the tip of the spear for Halliburton and American interests over there. It is a huge issue. It's not just about one little country. It's a huge issue, and again, an issue determined by a small elite group of international bankers called the Federal Reserve. So it all fits in together. I did not say that, I'm not going for that leftist thing, that complete leftist old thing. There's something else, and it's called a solution, and it can be reached in Israel, Palestine, and there can be peace. And, you know, we can get rid of nuclear weapons, and we can take the threat down rather than continually amping it up for profit. We can do that.
And President Barr, if she is in office, is going to be dealing with a Congress that is very accustomed to sort of kowtowing to Israel. How would you change the dialogue on that subject?
Well, I have done everything in my power to change that dialogue, and that's by writing, and you can read. I have had articles all over the place. I used to have a radio show on KPFK where I did talk about solutions for Israel-Palestine, and those same solutions are the same solutions that will work everywhere else in the world too. Fair pay for, the Palestinians are Israel's labor force, and this is a labor issue. Like everything else on this planet, is actually a labor issue with a lot of different shading to it. But you know what? If you pay people decently and you give them, and you give your workers a decent place to live, clean water, schools, hospitals, people are going to like you a lot better. They just are. It's common sense.
And finally, are you going to sing the national anthem at your own inauguration?
I absolutely am, and if anybody wonders if I sing it, please go to, if I sing it better than I did a long time ago, please go to YouTube and watch me sing it quite well, I have to brag, on my old show called Roseanne's Nuts that was on a cable television, but I did sing it with the greatest of respect and feeling, and take a look. I'm very proud of it. And you know what? I am a good singer, and I probably will sing that for my inauguration. And right after that, I'm going to totally redecorate.
Roseanne Barr,
Good evening and greetings, Earthlings. Honestly, I'm so honored to be speaking to you right now. First of all, because I know you're informed and you're intelligent, and that's just fantastic to find myself before that type of an audience. I just want to make a few statements to you before I answer your questions, some of which may be answered in the remarks I'm going to give you today. I hope so anyway. A lot of you know me from the character I portrayed on television years ago, a character who spoke to Americans about class, gender, race, gay rights, teenage female angst, and the power of unions at a time when those things were not largely ever spoken of on the people's airwaves in the United States of America. Some of you know me as the author of that character, and perhaps as a thinker and an activist who, when enriched with wealth and with fame, did not retire and go away to quietly live the good life in Palm Springs, but one who instead used their own wealth to travel to speak in support of the rights of workers, to demand a higher minimum wage, against foreclosures, in support of First Nations rights in America and around the world, against the continued embargo in Gaza, against Israeli occupation of the and for the rights of women to lead inside their churches, synagogues, and mosques, as well as their respective societies, and for the rights of gays and lesbians to marry those whom they love. Student loans and all debts. In a debt jubilee for which I have advocated on behalf of the widows and orphans of this world. Yeah. Perhaps you don't know those things about me. In any case, now you do. Why am I not retiring with my TV money and moving to Sun City, Arizona, or Palm Springs, California, like most old celebrities do? Because I have not yet tired of speaking truth to people and to power. Good. I will not let idiots go unanswered. Nor will I allow the most hateful of people to unpiously redefine the words of one who took the ultimate vow of poverty in service to justice against empire and the separation of religious and secular law. I've never wavered and I never will waver despite NDAA or any other man-made method for the silencing of dissent or of common sense. The question I'm most asked by people skeptical about my candidacy is, do you honestly think you're qualified to be POTUS? And if so, why? I answer that respectfully like this. I worked my way up from a childhood where I was a member of a small minority. I was a smart, fat girl. In a community where there was not much ethnic, political, or religious diversity, Salt Lake City, Utah. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't even have a plastic spork in my mouth. Like Wendy's, you know. After everything from dishwashing jobs to waitressing, I found my way to stand-up comedy. My humor resonated with working people, especially women. I took the truth of the working class life I had led all the way to the pinnacle of show business, and speaking of being a job creator, I created jobs by the hundreds over the years. In fact, some people that I gave a start to are millionaires today. So if it's really all about the economy, stupid, I think I'm someone who's proven they know more than a little something about economics. I am the American dream. And my success is based on average working people recognizing that I know their problems and challenges. I didn't make my money manipulating currency or selling bundles of shaky loans or peddling weapons to dictators. I earned my money bringing truth and respect and humor to average Americans, and my message still plays all over the world. So I think I'd be a pretty good ambassador of American goodwill to people everywhere. But starting here at home, my motto is, the American people are too big to fail. I'd like to answer is, but how about the complex foreign policy issues as well as domestic ones? How much of a grasp do we really have on such grave matters? For starters, forgive my tendency to apply common sense, but let's face the facts. The president, like all the rest of the citizens of this country, knows what he is told. He is informed and briefed by the intelligence community. And by qualified people and advisors concerning the critical issues which he or she must consider and act upon. I would be surrounded by and aided by qualified people who would perform the same functions for me. I would use my common sense and my decades of experience as a concerned and informed citizen, a successful business person, a conscience-driven writer and activist, a mother and grandmother, to consider and act upon the critical issues that a leader of a great nation must confront. I'd like to say that I'm very excited about this, that the game is almost over. It's time to point the finger upwards and hold all of our leaders' feet to the fire. If they want credit for accomplishments, they need to step up and take the blame as well. Gridlock isn't an obstacle for Congress, it's a strategy. Each side blames the other while nothing substantive gets done. It's not a mystery, though, because both sides have to serve the powerful moneyed interests who finance their campaigns. It costs millions of dollars to lose an election nowadays. So is it any wonder that our senators' representatives kowtow behind the scenes to their patrons? Politics is the servant of big money, but one fact remains. An informed, educated public is the enemy of tyranny and corruption. And I'm here to say we're wising up. Don't give up, wise up. 1% who run things. Hell, that would be like 3 million Americans. We'd be grateful if there was that many. It's more like 1% of 1% of 1%. And it will stay that way until our leaders in Washington are forced by a wised-up public to say to Wall Street, sorry, we're on to your game. The people know how things work, and they are more than 99%. The people are your boss now. To the Green Party, these are sure as hell the times that try women's and men's souls. These are the times when more Americans are living close to the poverty line than they have since the last time Wall Street brought us to misery and the brink of ruin during the Great Depression. These are the times when those who peacefully protest the biggest ripoff in human history are arrested on their own streets, while those who pulled it off give themselves raises. We hold those truths to be self-evident. And we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, a mighty dirty word to some, but we are speaking up loud and clear in union against criminals and Ponzi scheming sociopaths. The good news about sociopaths, though, is that they cannot last too long before they invariably embarrass themselves out of power, which is happening right now. I'm going to outline some of the reasons why the Green Party seems to be the most sane response to the controlled chaos that confronts us. This business of holding our noses and voting for the lesser of two evils has not gotten us anywhere. And it never will. This truth is hard to swallow for so many people, but it is the truth nonetheless. And here it is. What we've been sold as the American dream for a long time now is basically an unsustainable, debt-fueled treadmill to nowhere. The free market is basically a recipe for the race to the bottom, which is code word for slavery.
Right.
Thinking that the millions of jobs that have been outsourced to foreign labor markets can return is likely a pipe dream. The social safety net has been shredded by states that cry poverty, while Bush's tax breaks roll on and the rich get richer. Tens of millions of Americans live in homes that are worth far less than they owe on them. The generations behind the baby boomers can't expect to have it better than their parents, and they shouldn't. The old version of better is one that the planet and its people cannot sustain. We're going to need to redefine the very definition of good life. And we're going to need to do that along the lines that the Green Party follows and represents, not those followed by wildcat banksters and currency manipulators and debt salesmen and lobbyists who bombard our supposed representatives in government with their pressurized pitches for rich special interests. You know, it really gripes me when along with all the other absurdities that we're forced to swallow every day in our own country, I hate when people say, well, who does Roseanne Barr or some other show business type think they are that anybody should give a damn about their political views? Well, I have a question for those people, and I'd like to get right in their face when I ask it. Who do I have to be? I am an American citizen who is sick and tired of seeing things upside down. I'm sick of it. Listen, the fact, seriously, can anybody look me in the eye and tell me it's less crazy for the working poor to be bailing out the idle rich than it is for me to speak about it? That's who I am. I'm not a politician, and that is not a drawback, it's an advantage. Do I need to know every micro detail about a failed policy like our ridiculous war on drugs to know that anybody who wants to buy some recreational drugs can probably do it, even if they're in prison? And that all we're doing is making money for dangerous drug dealers and locking up users at a cost higher than a college education? That's what we're giving our kids. That's what they're offering our kids. And we also know that the drug laws are written for the benefit of drug lords. Hello? All these laws are written for Ponzi scheme predators, sociopaths, and drug lords and criminals. I'm not making this up. Let's cut right to the chase and get past the Coke versus Pepsi issues and straight to the bread and butter or meat and potato issues if you're still eating meat. And hopefully you'll stop. And I just want to put a plug in here. If people will get their protein from the macadamia nuts such as I grow in Hawaii, we wouldn't have any global warming. Everybody says, oh, it's the economy, stupid. That's not my line. It goes all the way back to Clinton. Well, here's what I'd like to know, and I don't need a PhD in economics to make good old common sense when it comes to asking the right questions. On the day before a big market crash or economic crisis or whatever they want to call it, what happens that is so fundamentally catastrophic? Does the sun decide to stop shining? Do the chickens decide to stop laying eggs? Do crops stop growing in the fields? Do people decide they can't show up for work? The truth is, it always seems to come down to some giant, almost overnight tsunami of you-know-what hitting the fan in the heart of Banksville, USA, Wall Street. Or wherever these money-manipulating geniuses play their games with everybody's home values, livelihoods, savings, pensions, and all the rest of the stuff that people who actually do real work so hard for. They work us, these guys that play the money manipulation games all day with other people's money. They work us and they play us. Remember not so long ago how every other damn ad on TV that wasn't for boner pills or bouncy hair or big giant cars that look like little buses was for home equity, home equity loans. Remember that? It was all over the radio and the internet too. Oh, you're sitting on a small fortune, they told us. Why put off those dream vacations, room additions, and that nice new car when First Fidelity, Financial Trust, and Consolidated Con Artists can write you a nice big fat check for doing nothing but taking out some of the big dollars just sitting there in that piggy bank you're living in? What they didn't tell the millions of Americans that they convinced it was a bright idea was that they would be putting their homes halfway in the pockets of those banksters by letting them put their name on your mortgage and on your lease. Before I go any further, that really pisses me off. Before I go any further, are those the same people that told you your home was worth more than you ever dreamed it would be by any chance hooked up with or acquainted with those other people? I'm talking about the ones who came after the second mortgage and told you it's worth a whole lot less than you thought it was. Are they in the same business? The playing around with people's hard-earned money business? This system is not broken, it's fixed, as in rigged. It's rigged. And it is fixed too. It's no different from down-home, everyday predatory lending. That's what it is about. Right. Predatory lending, like that exists in every inner city in this country and has for God knows how long, and has never ever been fixed, because fixing even one problem in this country would mean that the richest of the rich could no longer enrich themselves on not solving any problems. That's why no problem is ever solved in the United States. Can you believe it's been damn near 4 years since we all cheered wildly at the prospect of hope and change in our country? I did. It feels like the audacity of hope was more like the audacity of talking about hope and change. Have the poor gotten richer and the rich gotten poorer? Did we get the meaningful health care reform we were promised? Is our Social Security safety net less or more shredded than it was 4 years ago? People say, Roseanne, you made a lot of money way back when your show was on. Aren't you one of the 1%? Hey, when we talk about the 1%, I want to say, no, I'm not. Because when we talk about the 1%, we're talking about that very top elite who hold real power. The power to buy politicians like John Boehner. I call him Agent Orange, who blab a lot about what the American people want and expect from their leaders, but who do nothing but perpetuate gridlock. While the Republicans and the Republicans yell across the aisle at each other about who's trying harder to serve the American people, it seems like more people are losing their homes and their jobs, and more people with homes that are underwater after all these years of trickle-down economics. That's when the rich pee on the poor. Right. I figured it out. Now their adult kids are moving back in with them. A lot of these kids aren't any crazier about that idea than their parents are. And a lot of these kids are staggering under student loan debt. I just like to propose a solution there. Why not forgive the student loans and then they would have more money to stimulate the housing market? Are buried under debt. Everybody's buried under debt in the form of an enormous deficit that they tell us our grandkids are going to be struggling with. And who does everybody owe this money to? That's money that we haven't made yet. A lot of people think we owe it to China, but that is what a lot of people think China is our biggest creditor, but that's what our biggest creditor actually wants us to believe, because the fact of it is our biggest creditor is the Federal Reserve, the elite bankers of the Federal Reserve. The same people that yank money in and out of the system and create it out of thin air. I have a suggestion for another solution for taking the biggest bite out of that deficit that they parked over our heads. In the spirit of American ingenuity and do-it-yourselfness, why don't we just tell the Federal Reserve to print up some more money and pay themselves off on our behalf? Forever indebted to them without actually being forever indebted to them. You get my meaning? Oh, they'll still be filthy rich and connected. Let's take a look at their partners and patrons over on Wall Street. Wall Street. I went there. I went to Occupy Wall Street the very first day. I rushed there because I was like, man, it's coming. This activation that I've waited my whole life for, all through everything, it's coming, and it is here. And it's never going to stop, and it's never going to be defeated, and I'm thrilled with that. And I'd like to say, Mr. Obama, tear down that wall. The Republicans call Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Well, I'll talk about a Ponzi scheme. Here's a Ponzi scheme for you. It was a scheme that W was trying to pull when he wanted to hand our Social Security money over to Wall Street. Hey, that would have worked out real good, wouldn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Right. Who am I to talk about running for president? I'll tell you, I have one impeccable credential that I possess. I am not George W. Bush. No, and I'm not Obama. I never would have signed NDA. And I'm not one of the members of either party running now that are telling us that the way to make this country better and stronger and more righteous is to keep shredding our social safety net and asking the richest among us to contribute even less. They're job creators? What the hell have they been waiting for? Right. Are they waiting for the free market to kick in there? Free market? What does that mean? Free to pick up our jobs and move them to China? That's what it looks like so far. Free market slavery is what it really means. No regulations against slavery. That's what it means. No shit. And I do swear because that's my code to you people. As long as you hear me swearing, you know I'm not bought by any corporation. The liars do get the money, but not people who swear. And I love it. Because I won't be bought. Because I'm rich and I won't be bought. I don't have to be bought. I don't have to say anything that anybody else tells me to say, and I won't. Here's a question that begs answering. Where would the rich be without the working poor?
Right.
Who would feed them and raise their kids and wash their sheets? And what would happen when they went over the wall and turned the switch? Who would make the lights come on? Without the working poor, the rich would starve to death. They don't know how to grow anything or cook anything or serve themselves. They don't know that they don't even know that they should share with those who prepared their food. They don't even know that. They are mostly damaged beyond hope, and as they would sit there starving to death in the dark alone, they'll still be thinking of nothing but new ways to trick other people out of their decent wages and health care. That's what they'll be doing. There should not one of them be allowed near any government by or for any people anywhere. Are they people? We'll need to revalue and reevaluate everything now that there's no hope for any of us under the huge, dying, bloated beast of unfettered capitalism. Luckily and happily, it's falling all around us, and it's not going to get back up without slavery to fuel it. That is how it works. That's why they want privatized prison for free labor. They want those labor camps. They want labor camps like Bergen-Belsen was a labor camp, which was the doorway to Auschwitz, the blueprint of the model city of the industrial masters of men. I'm not lying to you. They will not stop until you have nothing. Let it fall. Don't try to hold it up or patch it up or fix it. Just show up and witness the end of the system of slavery and be prepared to create a more just permaculture right now in order to survive what is coming to America after the next election, no matter who wins, unless it's the Greens. One which gives tax-free credit to people if they are serving the common good and not growth in capitalist terms. I want a new kind of capitalism, one that instead of being fueled by wars as this one is, shows growth when old people get paid their retirement money and not when they lose them. We can no longer reward or elect those who seek our suffering and our demise. We cannot be free or create real change until what we believe and what we do are in unison every minute of every day. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you all for sitting here and being here and knowing what you know and doing what you do and keep on doing it too.
I love you, Rosie.
I love you too.
Yeah.
I just want to take one moment. Jeff Bacon, Bob Johnson, come up here, please. Come up here.
What did you do now?
I don't know. I'm always doing something.
All right, this is something that I heard about, but I wasn't so sure about. And it turns out Roseanne actually is running for president in the 2012 election. Now, she finished second place for a nomination in the Green Party, and then decided to go off and join the Peace and Freedom Party, a party which has existed since roughly the late 1960s. All right, now this party, get this, accepted her as a nomination, and also Cindy Sheehan, you know, the lady who had, basically made a big impact in America during, the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, is now the vice president underneath Barr. Now, where Roseanne stands in the issues, you could look that out, but I'll just give you a little quick summary. She seems pretty well educated and informed, really wants to promote, the third party agendas. Very interested in helping the environment, is against geoengineering, and like many third-party candidates, like libertarians like Gary Johnson and also Ron Paul when he tried winning the Republican nomination, really wants to go into the financial systems of this country and try cleaning them out, bring up topics like the Federal Reserve and other things of that nature. Is very much for liberty and freedom, what people do with their bodies and substances and lifestyles. All right, so once again, as another candidate who supports liberty, from the little bit I've read about here, seems like Roseanne is actually a pretty interesting candidate. Now, me personally, I'm going to vote for Gary Johnson, but if I didn't have that option, I might vote for Roseanne. So if you're out there and you're curious on who do you want to vote for, you don't have to vote for Barack. You don't have to vote for, Romney. There's plenty of other people out there. Take care for now, folks.
Of these United States of America. I figure, hey, you got to start somewhere. I'm trying to use it as a stepping stone to get a job with Goldman Sachs. But actually, the real reason I'm running for president of the United States is because I'm not a fucking thief, a liar, a goddamn whore. Thank you. And I'm not a fucking politician either. Every one of those sons of bitches need to be thrown out on their goddamn face, every goddamn one of them. Not one of them does shit for you, not one of them does shit for me. All they do is line their own goddamn pockets at public money's expense. These motherfuckers don't believe that we're going to stand up and say, no! We're going to say no, and I'm thrilled to be the one to say it on your behalf. I hope you will give me your support because I can't wait. I can't wait to speak for American workers, American mothers, American decent fucking human beings. People who have no fear. People who are still brave. People who are still free. And I'm serious. I want to say to the baby boomers and my fellow hippies here, God damn it, we were right about everything. The same shit matters now. I just say that I do swear in my presidential campaign at large. I do swear like a son of a bitch, and I'll tell you why. Because that is my proof to you that I'm not owned by any goddamn fucking special interests. I speak my mind and I speak what I consider to be the truth, and if I'm wrong, you know what? I listen and apologize if I'm fucking wrong. I don't keep digging my way to a hole to China to try to back up my bullshit. I just admit I'm wrong and move on. Yes, the same things matter after all these years, baby boomers and baby boomers' kids, and those things are peace. We want an end to all the goddamn wars. We want a goddamn war on war. We want to save some goddamn money and spend it here at home instead. The other thing we want is we want marijuana fucking legal! You're not gonna lock up our kids. You're not gonna fucking lock up kids for joints anymore. It's bullshit. You'll get my weed when you pry it out of my cold, dead fucking fingers.
have food, fuel, clothing for pennies, plus increased taxes and money. Suck my dick, motherfuckers. Tell me I suck. Goddamn commies. What are you, fucking commies? And the last thing I want to say on behalf of the American people, we need to kick out the Federal Reserve. Thank you. I'm Roseanne Barr, and I approve this message.
Roseanne Barr!
Yeah, thank you.
Hang tight a minute. Promise we'll be right back. Vibe time!
Now, let me ask you about the medical marijuana.
Dave, you know, one thing I want to say is Obama's trying to take our medical marijuana over there in California, trying to send in federal troops to get our medical marijuana. And I'll tell you this, Obama, you'll get my joint when you pry it out of my cold, dead fingers. That's why. And I know. I don't want to get on Obama's kill list.
Now,
you know, I got to look out for drones on my way home now, I know.
But let's say a person signs up for the medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Is there a list of ailments that you have to support or prove you have?
You know, it's not funny, Dave. It's a real medicine that a lot of people can't live without. I mean, it really helps with, like, mental illness and stuff, which is why I use it.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is you can't own a gun if you're on the medical marijuana. They won't let you have a gun. Well, all these drunks are walking around with guns. Yeah. What the hell? Yeah. And now, did you know that in the state of California, the big government is trying to get these porn stars and force them to wear rubbers? The founding fathers are rolling over in their graves on that, Dave. Adults in a free country should be able to smoke a joint if they want to. That's
question now. I want to clarify this though. Are you talking about medical marijuana?
I'm talking about medical marijuana to keep it legal because it has health benefits. THC definitely helps with childhood leukemia and a lot of things. THC is a good drug.
We talk about that on the show.
I'm also talking about all marijuana legal all the time. I'm also talking about
So without a prescription?
Yeah, it should because this is a free country.
Just like alcohol, as long as you're of age. And
the last time we tried prohibition, all it did...
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's like the last time we had prohibition, that only made gangs and crime bosses richer. And it's the same thing now.
No, then why don't you just legalize cocaine and morphine?
Yeah, then there'd be no drug wars at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you just have everybody, be addicted and stoned.
I think it's a way different issue.
I don't think
marijuana.
it's a different issue at all because there's a lot of kids, just as Jim said, whose lives are cut short by either
marijuana.
Yes, by either driving under the influence or by having their memory and their attention disorders.
I'm sorry,
all that's going on.
I actually think there is a big difference, in my humble opinion, between marijuana and heroin and cocaine. And I'm just speaking strictly from a medical perspective. I've never seen someone come in to the ER after smoking marijuana having killed someone else in a fit of rage.
There's
I'm not saying it's good for you, but you can't equate marijuana.
Driving under the influence of marijuana, and it also damages kids' lives, and it keeps
I agree.
They progress to other.
That's
we are talking about kids.
No, it isn't, and
yes,
that's just we're not talking about kids.
We are
Nobody
talking
wants
about
kids on marijuana.
And we don't want kids drinking either.
I mean, realistically, marijuana. I couldn't agree more with both of you in some way, but when you're strictly talking about the mechanics of a drug, marijuana the way it acts in the human body is more benign than the way cocaine acts in the body. You can take cocaine and die within 5 minutes.
I'm saying theoretically, if you're going to go ahead and do that for one drug and not just make it,
Well,
I think
then let's
you have to
outlaw alcohol
but
too,
alcohol
because
is a drug,
alcohol
too,
is a
I
drug,
think,
so let's outlaw that too.
But I think there's a difference.
If you're looking at different effects, suppose somebody drunk driving is going to blow right through a stop sign, whereas somebody that's high is going to sit at that stop sign waiting for it to turn green.
New at 10, presidential politics and the war on drugs took a strange twist in Oakland tonight when comedian turned candidate Roseanne Barr drew a big crowd to hear why she's running for president. KTVU's Eric Rasmussen is live in Oakland, where Barr was looking for more than just votes tonight. Eric?
Frank, Roseanne's message tonight, legalize marijuana. Of course, it's part of the reason she came here to Oaksterdam University. Now, no matter how many of these campaign stickers her campaign gives away tonight, she knows she's not going to win, but Roseanne had no trouble firing up a very friendly crowd here tonight.
Government's not supposed to be run like a business!
Roseanne Barr is running for president, and she says it's no joke.
The war on drugs is a class war!
This town hall meeting on medical marijuana doubled as a campaign rally for the former TV sitcom star, who's now the presidential nominee of the Peace and Freedom Party. What would you say to people out there who think this is kind of a publicity stunt, running for president?
I'm not doing it for publicity because my political views have ended my career. So it's not for publicity, that's for sure.
No stranger to controversy or politics since her rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner in 1990, Barr says she came to Oakland in part because of the federal raid of Oaksterdam University in April. Medical marijuana advocates blasted President Obama, saying he broke a commitment to respect state laws allowing dispensaries.
President Obama, along with the rest of them, are attacking us.
Do you smoke marijuana?
I certainly do. I have a prescription, and absolutely I do smoke marijuana, and I have for several years, for most of my life, as a matter of fact, at this point.
Roseanne's running mate, anti-war activist Cindy Sheehan. They hope they can get more people registered to the Peace and Freedom Party, they say, so they can keep the party on the ballot in California. We're live here in Oakland. Eric Rasmussen, KTVU Channel 2 News.
And we will move forward together.
And we're going to take the White House. Thank you so very much.
As President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney make their way through the battleground states, one presidential candidate came here to Oakland, California to talk about a special issue in her campaign.
Who pays for this failed system of endless war, endless debt, and endless death? Pot smokers!
We caught up with domestic goddess turned presidential candidate Roseanne Barr during a town hall meeting at America's first cannabis college.
Locking up your own tax base is simply stupid. When the prison military-industrial complex is closed down, then we'll be able to grow hemp, which will save all of our assets.
What made you decide to run for president?
Same thing that made me want to do a sitcom. Sitting home and watching TV before I did the sitcom, I thought, hell, I could do better than that. Same idea.
I know one of your major issues is the legalization of marijuana. Is that why you're here at Oaksterdam today?
Yeah, that is why I'm here. I do believe that we live in a free country, and so we should be free to smoke what we want and drink what we want, and particularly if what we want to smoke is medication that does great things for us.
The author of Roseanne-der, Dispatches from the Nut Farm, says weed helped her with symptoms of bipolar disorder. You would partake in marijuana, medical marijuana at least?
I have a prescription for medical marijuana. I'm a proud user of medical marijuana, but I think that marijuana should be legalized all the way. You know, marijuana in California is $1 billion industry, and we need those taxes for schools and the other programs they're cutting.
After failing to gain the nod from California's Green Party, Roseanne was nominated by the Peace and Freedom Party, founded in Los Angeles during the 60s anti-war movement. The party nominated Ralph Nader in 2008.
Marijuana helps us to resist mind control, and it is the most effective weapon against that. Without mind control, the people would demand representational government that works for open it.
Once a safe haven in California's thriving medical marijuana industry, Oaksterdam taught thousands of students cultivation and grew medical marijuana until a federal crackdown in April. The college is now struggling to keep their doors open.
They took everything but the office furniture, so they really brought the school to its knees. But fortunately, they also managed to disassociate the school from any of the other marijuana businesses. So now we are simply a First Amendment fight. So we can now do things and work with people that we were never able to do before.
Tell me about having Roseanne here after all this happened at Oaksterdam University.
Well, the war goes on, and we have more people coming out for legalization every day. We just had 3 presidents of South American countries at the United Nations this week call for legalization. So I think things are going our way more than ever. We have 3 states that have, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado, that have it on the ballot this year. So we're real hopeful.
How would life be different under Roseanne Barr's administration?
Well, it would make a lot more sense, I'll tell you that. I would have pot legal, and I would immediately make war illegal and the business of war illegal. War profiteering is ridiculous, shameful.
Tell me about your opinions of President Obama and candidate Mitt Romney.
I think they're both irrelevant to the majority of the American people. They work for the same guys. And I think the American people have the right to vote for a party not owned by bankers, and that's another reason why I'm running for president.
So she's serious about this? Well, she's serious enough to have gotten onto the ballot in at least Florida. But I think her main objective is to keep her party alive by raising enough votes and money. The Peace and Freedom Party needs 45,000 registered voters on their platform in order to be on the ballot for the state elections in California in 2014. So she's using her name and the publicity to help garner those voters.
She could definitely cause Barack Obama to lose in Florida. If it's a tie in Florida and she gets, 20,000 votes, I think Nader got 40, 50,000 votes. He gave the election to George W. Bush, Ralph Nader.
Wouldn't that be something on the raising, pot legalization
on the raising pot legalization? Craig, thanks.
New at 11 tonight, from crass comedian to leader of the free world, a woman known for making people laugh is hoping you'll send her to the White House. Roseanne Barr is running for president, and pot is part of her platform. Is it a publicity stunt? Not according to Barr. NBC Bay Area's Kimberly Terry was there. She joins us live with the details. So let me get this right. You've got President Obama, Romney, and Roseanne Barr.
That's right, and she's serious. She says she wants to serve the public and open up important dialogues about issues including marijuana. Roseanne Barr says she chose to come to Oakland, where feds raided Oaksterdam back in April, and tonight the crowds there kept calling out for her until she finally made her appearance.
I'm not doing it for publicity because my political views have ended my career. So it's not for publicity, that's for sure.
Actress and comedian Roseanne Barr spoke before hundreds at Oaksterdam University tonight.
I have a prescription, and absolutely I do smoke marijuana, and I have for several years, for most of my life as a matter of fact at this point.
What is the prescription?
That's why I'm so cool.
The Peace and Freedom Party presidential nominee is setting herself apart from President Barack Obama and GOP nominee Mitt Romney by taking a hard stance on legalizing marijuana.
Well, it should be totally legal to smoke marijuana. We live in a free country, so we should be able to smoke or drink whatever we choose as free, tax-paying, and adult citizens.
Barr told the standing room only crowd she wants to see an end to the drug war and to what she says is a monopoly of subsidized prison systems.
Without illegal pot, the war on drugs will end, which is good since the war on drugs is really a war for drugs. Waged by rich people on prescription drugs against poor people on street drugs. The war on drugs is a class war.
Barr says she's running for president to start a dialogue about important issues and to serve her country.
I don't know if people are smart enough to understand what I'm saying and therefore vote for me. We'll see.
The campaign is only a symbolic one since she is not on the ballot in enough states to win, although the 59-year-old says she hopes voters will write her name in.
Our system is very winner-take-all, which is not truly democratic nor truly representational. For instance, if I get 3% of the vote, I should have 3% of the seats in those hallowed halls where public money is being apportioned.
We feel that she really represents working class people in this country. She had one of the first television shows that wasn't about rich people, but was about working class families and the problems that they face. And we think that it's really important for working class people to have a candidate that they can relate to and who is contending for some power.
Barr's running mate for the Peace and Freedom Party is Cindy Sheehan, the anti-war activist. Many were expecting her to be at tonight's event, but she was not there. Live in Oakland, Kimberly Terry, NBC, Bay Area News.
It's no joke. Comedian Roseanne Barr is running for president, and tonight she appeared in Oakland. CBS 5 reporter Juliette Goodrich says she has picked a platform some feel is a winner.
Comedian and former TV star Roseanne Barr is now running for president as the Peace and Freedom Party candidate.
And I'm here to show my support. Pretty simple.
Barr telling voters she wants to legalize marijuana.
And then I can get twice as many brownies. I don't know.
Barr spoke on a panel at Oaksterdam, the nation's first cannabis industry trade school.
Hi, how are you
Welcome
doing?
to Oakland.
Thank you.
Tell us what you want your message out here.
My message is democracy, freedom, and peace. Brad.
It is official. Roseanne Barr is the Peace and Freedom Party candidate in California. Her name will be on the ballot in this state and in other states as well. Barr isn't on enough ballots to win, but her supporters think otherwise.
All we have to do is just get one person up there that says they're going to legalize cannabis, and that will decide the presidential election.
If anything, her supporters hope the Roseanne Barr ticket will boost the Peace and Freedom Party voter registration. In Oakland, Juliette Goodrich, CBS 5.
As a publicity stunt, since my political views have pretty much ended my career anyway. You can choose the greater of two goods. To choose the lesser evil is no damn choice at all, ladies and gentlemen.